I'm back. Road Rants with a video podcast. That's right. A Star Wars Mandalorian video podcast. As you know, these are informal. And we're going to get on here and we're just going to have a, albeit one-sided conversation. But we're going to have a conversation about The Mandalorian. And a little bit of news around The Mandalorian. And I got a juicy-ass leak to share with you guys. So, involving The Mandalorian. And things coming in the future surrounding The Mandalorian. Okay, now, leaks are with grains of salt. As Doomcock would say. He's absolutely right. But I got a good feeling about this one, okay? Now, let's get to the first part of this. The Mandalorian, it was released yesterday that The Mandalorian was the most in-demand original new show across all streaming platforms. New streaming services, okay? This was interesting. It says the Jon Favreau drama, which is set in the world of Star Wars, was made available by Disney Plus on November 12th on launch day. The demand for the show was more than 55 times higher than the average television series during the same week. Wow. The Mandalorian, quote, The Mandalorian is in a class of its own. Director of Applied Analytics at Parrot Analytics. And they do the statistics for streaming services. Disney has not said how many viewers The Mandalorian received, but the streaming service did attract 10 million signups in the first 24 hours. And now it has 60 million. And I do remember 60 million is above projections for that thing. So the one thing Disney has gotten right is The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian and 8 out of 12 Clone War episodes. And look, I liked Rebels. So they got that right. Now, I think that is great news for one Mr. Favreau, who, the word on the street, people still believe that Favreau is cruising towards leading the charge at Lucasfilm. And could George take the position first? Yeah. But it's my belief if George was to take the position, George won't be long for the position. George is 76. So, you know, you're going to have a situation there where I could see George coming in for maybe a year, 2 years tops, and then handing it off to John. I still don't think it's Dave Filoni. It's still not going to be Dave Filoni. I just don't. You do have to have the ability to, quote-unquote, hobnob when you're the president of a studio. And I think Favreau can do that, but I don't know that Dave Filoni can. And you don't want Dave to get in a position. I just think that I don't know how else to say this, but I just feel like Dave would be bullied. I do. Now, creatively, Dave might come up with something great. But I like I said in prior videos, I just think Dave is a 2 or a 3. I really prefer him be a 3. Unless the 2 is some choice I'm scared to death of, you know. Rian Johnson is the number 2 at Lucas. If I just throw myself out of a fucking window right now. I mean, I would just be like, oh, you got to be shitting me, right? That's not going to happen. By the way, last I heard, when did I hear this? A couple of weeks ago. Rian Johnson's trilogy is... There is nothing going on with that trilogy. Nothing. It's Taika Waititi's movie because the movie's got pushed back yet another year. Taika's got the next film. And whatever Feige is producing is the film after that. And we'll get into Taka in a minute. Now, I want to also show you something very cool. Oh my God. Yeah. I got my Mandalorian Black Series figure in. This fucker was on back order for 7 months. Look at that. Very cool. Very cool. Yes. Yeah. This thing is beautiful. This thing is beautiful. It's already getting a little dust on it. It's been hanging up here on the wall. I meant to show it the other day. But yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. That's probably going to be a thumbnail. So, very cool Mandalorian Black Series. In case you're wondering, they've got a chrome version of it. But I'm not paying the kind of money they want for it. Last I checked, it was over $100. You know, would I love to have it? Yeah, if YouTube was just, you know, if I was one of these huge channels banking all the time, yeah, I'd be all over that thing. But right now, no. I had to order the $19.99 version. Oh, but you know what? What a great time, since these are completely informal. I would show this off. This is a Skywalker Saga, and they're like dipped in fake gold. Commemorative edition Skywalker Saga. And this is Anakin and Obi-Wan. I saw this at the store, and I was like, I got to get that. Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. And it's got like this hologram back on it. Really freaking cool. This is one of the better things that I've gotten since the sale. I've gotten very, very little. Very little. So, anyway, that's cool. I got to show a couple of my toys off. Video podcast series, which means I can smoke. Man, I kind of like doing these when there's not a rank involved. That's pretty cool. 2 of these in one day, too, by the way. This won't be nearly as long as the ranks, and because I'm doing a review and there's stories to tell behind them, blah, blah, blah. I see why Joe Rogan does these. I do. Okay, so we covered the streaming thing, and we touched a little bit on Favreau, Filoni, George. Now, on to the leak I got, because I got a couple of ancillary things off the leak. I got told today that there are a minimum of 3 Mandalorian spinoff shows on the way. And we're going to see Ahsoka in that trailer. Okay. So, it looks like we're going to get at least a glimpse of Ahsoka in the trailer. There's not going to be any hidden anything. They're going to do a little reveal so everybody will lose their shit. And I'm sure I'll do a live stream. I'll react to the trailer, and then I'll do a live stream so we can just conversate about it. Maybe I'll have a few more subs by then. Anyway, so 3 series coming off The Mandalorian. One of them is going to be this Ahsoka Tano show. That show is going to be Captain Rex should be in that show. Tamora Morrison. Now, we know Boba Fett is going to be in The Mandalorian, but he's only going to be in Season 2 about this much. Enough to set up a larger situation in Season 3. And I think what you're going to have happen is I think Boba and The Mandalorian is going to have a battle. And sort of in the way you saw Zack Snyder's Batman versus Superman, you're going to have a battle, and then you're going to have an understanding, and then you're going to have a team up. That's what I think is going to happen. Because, look, it's the only way to satisfy the fan base. You cannot, I do not think you can bring Boba back and then turn around and kill him this fast. Plus, there's going to be marketing opportunities around Boba. And those, and Tamora will play Boba. But, now there's a playoff of that. I think one of those shows is going to be, we thought, a Boba Fett show. But I'm not so sure now. If we remember Timothy Oliphant, great actor, one of my favorite actors. Justified, great series. Definitely in my top 10 series of all time, I think. I've watched it 3 times all the way through, where he plays a Deputy Marshal Raylan Givens. He's a modern-day gunfighter. Great show. Wears a cowboy hat. And then he played in The Perfect Getaway. He played in The Crazies. Those are 2 movies. He was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Oliphant's a kick-ass actor. And you know what? He was underrated as the villain in Live Free or Die Hard. He was the villain in that. But I think they would have done a better job if they'd have let him play more of a role of the role he had in The Perfect Getaway, as opposed to this more slick talker kind of guy. He also played in he was the Hitman, come to think of it. Now, they casted Timothy. He's going to be in Season 2, and he's going to be Cobb Vanth, okay, which is a sheriff of a settlement on Tatooine. And he wears Boba Fett's armor. He finds it. He gets it from Jawas. That's the way the backstory goes. There's a backstory to that that's in a novel. One of the novels. I was talking to Lord Callis about it. Great friend of the channel. Lord Callis is the definitive knower of all when it comes to Star Wars canon. Legends, current canon. Lord Callis is the man. He is. OG Star Wars is really good with Legends. RK Outpost, really good with Legends. Okay? All those novels. I only know a couple of those novels. Those guys, shit. They've got them novels on lockdown. I ain't got time to read that much. I ought to get some of those on audiobook, though. I really should. Especially that Thrawn trilogy. Because I still wonder if we won't end up seeing that on film one day. So, my theory is this. I don't know that Boba Fett gets a series. I think Cobb Vanth is the series that we're going to get. And he's going to be wearing Boba's armor. And the reason I say that is, it would feel odd for them to have cast Timothy in strictly a guest starring role when he is a television series star. He's the headliner of past successful series. And it just makes sense that if you're going to have a Mandalorian spinoff, why not get a guy that is a television star? And people take one look at Timothy, they know him that quick. They're like, oh shit, Raylan Givens from Justified. You know? And Deadwood. Good God, Deadwood. A great series. John Matrix. Watch Deadwood. If you have not seen Deadwood, top 5 series on my list of all time. And they concluded it with a television movie. And we'll get to something else involving all of this. So that's my theory. I don't think Boba gets a series. I think Boba is in The Mandalorian only. And I still think Cad Bane's coming. And I still think he's coming in Season 3. I think you're going to get Boba, and look, that's going to be a marketing opportunity because Boba's going to have new armor. He's going to have a new look. And they're going to sell the shit out of Boba Fett in a different look. They just are. Because we got to remember, Boba had different looks over the years. He wasn't always in that Mandalorian armor. He looked different in the Clone Wars. All right, so we can't just be like, Boba Fett, Empire Strikes Back. No. He wore different... He was always dressed in different situations. That's how we've seen him in the movies. But in the Clone Wars, no. He didn't have that armor set up yet, like Jango. You know, could he get some different Mandalorian armor? Maybe. That'd be badass. You know, maybe him and the Mandalorian have an issue because he's been wearing the armor. Which is going to be interesting because if Cobb Vanth ain't a Mandalorian, the Mandalorian may have an issue with him. So we'll find out. Look, that Cobb Vanth thing is purely speculation on my part. But when you cast Timothy Oliphant, you cast him to lead a series, not just guest star. Yeah. You cast him, he's got 8, 9 highly successful seasons of TV under his belt with Justified and Deadwood. One on HBO, one on FX. So, if you have not seen either one, good God, it's time to drop everything and binge both series. Because I assure you, whatever you're watching right now won't be as good. It won't be as good. It won't be. Especially Deadwood. Good God. Can they get Ian McShane away from American Gods in The Mandalorian? That'd be cool. So, that's my other theory. I don't know what the other third show is. I haven't heard anything about it. I think it's got something to do with Rebels. I had originally heard that. Now, some of that's kind of being backed off on. So I don't know, because there's supposedly something going on with Ezra and Thrawn. But I don't know what it is right now. I don't know. I had heard live action. Then I heard animated. Then I heard both. I'm like, both? Okay. But The Mandalorian and these series are all going to tie together to the Clone Wars, to Rebels. So it's all going to be sort of this ancestral thing they've got going on here. And that would be a good way to get everybody locked into everything. The Marvel deal, right? The MCU deal. Oh shit, well so-and-so's going to be in this movie. You know, well, Civil War, Spider-Man's in it. That sort of thing. Only with Star Wars. Jon Favreau, right? So, that's what I've got. All having to do with the Mandalorian. I like talking the Mandalorian. Maybe this channel will grow over the Mandalorian. Who knows? But there's going to be a lot of horror on this channel too. A lot of horror. And I wanted to show off my a couple of my collections here. You know what? Wow, I got some dust on this. I need to dust. Jesus, Christmas. Boba Fett. Like me some boba. I actually got another boba up there too. Yeah. So, oh, and I don't know if I can kill it. Let me see if I can kill it right quick. There we go. All right. So, that is Bear. That is Bear's daddy. Oh, he's a good boy. He was a good boy. They were both named Bear. And that's Bear's daddy. That's a canvas. He died at 3. Bear died at 6. And Daddy Bear, they acted exactly alike. Weird. His daddy died a UTI, and he stepped right in. It was like Bear was never gone. Same mannerism, same facial expression, same walk, same build. And you know what? I've got another black cat. Actually, I got 2 black cats. But I've got one. His name is Simba. And he couldn't act more differently than the bears. He's a good boy. He's sweet. But he's not. They ain't none of them as sweet as Bear was. Or his daddy. None of them. No animal I've ever had was as good as Bear. Yep. So, hit subscribe. A Mandalorian video podcast. How about that? Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
King Kong in a